Welcome back. Pope Francis has been discharged from a hospital in Rome where he spent more than 5 weeks recovering from double pneumonia. I'm joined now by Patrick Novecosky, author of 100 Ways John Paul II Changed the World, and Father Patrick Flanagan, chair of the Department of Theology and Religious Studies at St. John's University. Great to have you here, Patrick. We saw the first photos of Pope Francis today after his discharge here from the hospital. It seems like he's very frail. How do you interpret the decision to show him in this condition?
You've got two Patricks here, so I'll go first. Yeah, he looked very frail. He had very difficulty lifting his arms and waving. You could see there that he is exceedingly frail. I've never seen him this frail before. So how to interpret that? Well, the Pope has never been this sick. He's never, we're hoping that he'll make a full recovery. According to some sources, he's got a 2-month recovery at the Vatican before he can resume, I guess, a normal work schedule. But it looks like, we need to continue to pray for the Pope.
Yeah, exactly. Father Flanagan, what did you make of this? It must have been nice to see him.
With you this morning.
Yeah, great to be here.
I'm pleased to meet my fellow Patrick here. When the world saw Pope Francis walk out but be wheeled out on the veranda of that Gemelli hospital, it was very, very touching and very, very. It was the realization of so many people's hopes, the answer to so many prayers. I mean, I looked at the crowd. The crowd were just so ambitious and so enthused. It was really wonderful. I would remark about two things about this moment. One is that Pope Francis, in all his hospitalization, has been incredibly transparent. And there's been something remarkable about that in terms of a world leader being so open and honest about his condition and allowing his doctors and his medical staff to communicate to the people of the world what's going on and his prognosis. The second piece is the reality of when he's going to get back to work. So one of the clear things to me is it's if you caught the interaction, I guess it was one of his handlers that spoke to him, and he was very clear he didn't want to do this or he didn't want to do that. Mm-hmm. So there is a man who's really fully much in charge still, despite his condition. I think this is all going to lead to the very fact that, as many people have remarked, it's going to be a transformative pontificate in this respect, that I think when all of us are sick and we get better, particularly from challenge, we have to ask ourselves two questions. One is, why me? Why did God spare me? And secondly, okay, now God has spared me. What does God ask me to do now? And Pope Francis has already indicated that he wants to have a 3-year plan. So he is thinking about 3 years ahead. But as we recognize, in many respects, man proposes and God disposes. So it could be something different.
Yeah, exactly.
But we live in hope.
Yeah, exactly. We are holding out hope. Other Patrick, considering his age and recent hospitalization, do you think he should resign or retire at this point?
Well, earlier in his pontificate, he said that if he was debilitated and he couldn't work, that he had a letter, he had a plan for a resignation. But it looks like even despite his frailty, he wants to continue on, and that is really, really impressive. I think I worked for an archbishop once, and he got sick. He was in the hospital, and he said that it was a blessing to be in the hospital because it got him, I guess, reconnected to God. He said, I kind of forgot how to pray. So we can look at this illness of Pope Francis, his hospital stay, as a time, I think, for a reconnection with his followers who are praying for him every day, and his reconnection with God, and just a second time to step out as Pope and to launch anew, in a sense, even though physically he's suffering. John Paul II, too, went through a period of suffering, never lost the ability until the very end to be the Pope. And we loved him for that. So we need to love Pope Francis for this.
Father Flanagan, what do you think? I know it's a sensitive situation, but what's your take?
So I think everything's on the table, as Patrick said. So we have this letter. It's stored with the Vatican officials. I think what's going to happen is that he's going to do some serious discernment. He's a Jesuit, and they engage in serious discernment with regards to God's favor as God's direction. And the beautiful thing about it is that I believe that God's will be done. And in the end, that Pope Francis will cooperate with God's will, whatever that might be for him and for the church. Because I think it's not only about Pope Francis, but it's also about the church. One of the things is that I think Pope Francis reminded us early on his pontificate, 12 years ago, he had a wonderful life, very quiet life, retired life in Argentina. And now he's been taken to the world stage, and he did it willingly and in obedience to God's plan. And now we find that he's also being asked now to be obedient to God's plan.
Yeah, certainly a good sign, though, to see him at least in public and that he was able to do that. Patrick Novecosky, as well as Father Patrick Flanagan, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Great being with you.